How much are you worth? If you don't know, you're going to want to stick around in this video because we're going to go over how to calculate your net worth and what you should be focusing on. Let's get started. Now, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below because I will be releasing new content every Sunday. Okay, so calculating net worth. Why is this such a big thing to do? Why do you need to do it? Well, look, it's basically benchmarking where you are today. You can't have any real financial goals or really goals for yourself in life without understanding what you're worth. Banks use it, other folks judge you on it, so why don't you know this information? You need to understand your net worth. It's a big thing. And we're gonna go over some ways to figure it out and some important tips here. Now, the first important thing is to understand that, look, it's not everything. Your net worth is not everything in life, but it is financially who you are. Other people judge you based on this number. Like I said, you know, when you go to get a loan or open a credit card, people judge you on this number. So it's very important to know who you are and what you are financially. So calculating your net worth is a big step, and you should do it early on in your life because that's the only way you can track your progress. And speaking of progress, it's definitely important because, again, if you don't know what you're worth today, how are you going to know how you've done year over year going into or stepping towards retirement, right? You want to establish your benchmark and then you can track your progress every year. All right, guys, so another important thing of understanding your net worth and what you have in terms of assets and debts is it kind of wakes you up to the debts that you have. And I talk about how you can pay off your debts quickly in another video, which I'll link up here. But basically, you want to know and understand your debt situation because the only way to really truly continue to grow your net worth is also working down some of the debt that you have. It's not just about what your income is and what you're bringing in, but you have to work down the debt because as your debts go down and your income goes up, this kind of levels out and now it starts growing exponentially. Your net worth starts growing on a much more rapid scale. So it's really important to wake up to the debt that you have, and calculating your net worth is a really good way to understand where you stand in terms of debts and assets and go from there. All right, so how do you calculate net worth? Well, look, the calculation's fairly easy, right? You just have to total up all your liabilities, your debts, and everything like that in one bucket, and then you put your assets in one category, right? So even like, for example, your car, you might have a car loan or payments that you're making on this car, but your car might be worth more than that. So you want to definitely just put the value of your car in your assets, and then you can put the value of the loan into the liability section. Same thing for your house. You put the current value of your house in the assets, and then you put your loans or mortgage amounts over here in the liabilities. And what that effectively does is when you net those two together, you'll get what your net worth is. Now, some people starting out early on, if they have a lot of student debts and they don't have retirement accounts or homes or things like this, your net worth is probably going to be in the negatives, and it'll probably stay that way for a while. I can tell you I have a few big student loans, and I'm in the process of looking to buy a home, so I'm going to be in the negatives net worth wise for a while. But I'm aware of this. I know exactly what I have to work on. I know exactly what big debts I have out there so that I can work those down as I also increase my assets, right? You can increase your assets through stocks. You can increase your assets through additional real estate investments. But one warning, and this is really important, guys, is if you look at your real estate holding, your primary residence, as the biggest asset in your net worth asset pool, I think that's a mistake for a lot of people because, look, you gotta remember, if this is your only home and you're counting on this as being your largest assets, it might not be as liquid as you think, right? Because look, you're gonna have to live somewhere, so you can't necessarily cash that asset out and now be worth X amount of dollars. That's your home, that's your primary living space. You need that residence, right? The other thing is home values, they do fluctuate a lot, right? We had a housing crash about 10 years ago where the values just dropped tremendously. So imagine if you had $1 million home in your asset pool and that was your largest asset, and that put you into the plus $800,000 net worth range, right? Now all of a sudden a housing crash happens and that home's value goes down to $500,000. So effectively it drops your net worth by almost $500,000. So be very wary of having that as your primary asset. Try to diversify as much as you can. Diversification in your assets is key, guys. I definitely recommend, in order to kind of increase this net worth, you guys work down your debts. That's big to do, so continue to do that, focus on that. But you know, it takes time. It's not something that you calculate and then you're like, look, I'm minus $300,000, I'm never gonna be able to get out of this. But by understanding your minus $300,000, you can set attainable goals for yourself over a 5-year, 10-year stretch of time. So try to focus on how to improve your situation, and don't be so, you know, overwhelmed or defeated by the number that you see initially. Now again, I can't emphasize this enough. It's really important to know your worth, because banks, lenders, all these people determine anything that you're eligible for in terms of loans and mortgages and things like this based on that net worth. Alright guys, well that's the video for today. Calculating net worth, it's very important. What are your guys' thoughts? Please leave a comment down below, and if you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. We'll see you next week.